Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aunties, uncles, hustlers, dreamers, and future billionaires in the room, welcome to a conversation about success that's not filtered through Instagram's rose-tinted lenses or TikTok's choreographed dances. Let me start with the truth you won't find in motivational quotes or viral videos. Success is like eating bitter melon without soy sauce. It's ugly, it's bitter, it's tough to swallow, and nobody's cheering you on while you choke it down. In fact, most people will laugh, point, and say, "Why are you even bothering with that nonsense?" But you keep chewing. Why? Because deep down you know that bitter melon is medicine. The pain, the struggle, the grind, it's producing something inside you that comfort, ease, and Netflix binges never will. When people ask me, "Jack, what's your secret to success?" I smile and give them the unfiltered truth. It's simple. Lose a ton of money, get rejected by 30 investors, have your friends laugh at you. Maybe even your cat gives you that judgmental side eye. Sleep 3 hours a night for years, survive on plain noodles with no meat, swap soda for tea, and smile like everything's fine, even when your world is crumbling faster than a cheap cookie. They look at me like I've lost my mind. And maybe I have, just a little. But I'm the kind of crazy with a bank account that smiles back. So who's winning here? The road to success isn't lined with roses or sprinkled with fairy dust. It's paved with failures, heartbreaks, embarrassing moments, and unpaid Wi-Fi bills. If you can survive those without losing your mind, or at least keep your sense of humor intact, you've already outlasted 90% of the people who quit when things get tough. Let's break this down the Jack way, the painful way, the funny way, the real way. Today, we're talking about the grind, the hustle, and the moments that make you question your life choices. But we're also talking about why those moments are the foundation of something greater. Let's start with today. Today is hard. Today is waking up with no coffee, no hope, and an alarm clock screaming, "Go fail again." It's when you try to start a business, but your bank account laughs and says, "Nope, not today." It's when you pour your heart into a big idea, post it online, and the only response is the echo of your mother's voice saying, "Why don't you just get a normal job like Uncle Lee?" Today is the test. It's the gym for your mindset. Do you think muscles grow from massages? No, they grow from pain, from lifting heavy weights, from pushing past what's comfortable. Success is no different. It's built in the moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. Back in 1995, when I first saw the internet, I typed beer into a search engine. No Chinese beer came up. Then I typed China, nothing, zilch. I thought, Jack, there's a space here. You can be the crazy guy to fill it. Was it hard? Oh yes. The modem sounded like a goat on its last breath, and the internet was slower than my grandma crossing the street, backwards. People laughed at me. They said, "Jack, you're not technical. You're not a coder. And let's be honest, you're not exactly a movie star." I shrugged and said, "True, but at least I'm consistent." Consistency in the face of failure is what separates the dreamers who make it from the ones who don't. Today isn't your enemy. It's your training partner. The pain of today is temporary, but the regret of giving up, that's forever. And let me tell you, regret is expensive. It makes you cry with your whole body. Eyes, nose, soul, everything. Pain, on the other hand, is cheaper. It's the price you pay to grow. So, when today feels like a punch in the face, take it. Learn from it. Laugh at it if you can. Because today is just the first round, and the fight's not over yet. Let's talk about why today matters. It's not just about surviving, it's about building resilience. Every rejection, every failure, every moment you feel like quitting is a rep in the gym of life. When I was starting out, I didn't have a fancy degree or a trust fund. I had a dream and a whole lot of stubbornness. I failed my university entrance exam twice. My math teacher told me my numbers were as confused as my haircut. I applied for jobs and got rejected left and right. Even KFC turned me down. Out of 24 applicants, 23 got hired. Guess who didn't? This guy. But I kept going because I knew that every no was just a step closer to a was. Today is about showing up even when it hurts. It's about typing China into a search engine and seeing nothing, but refusing to let that stop you. It's about hearing the laughter and deciding to be consistent anyway. The world doesn't owe you success. it doesn't even owe you a chance. You have to take it one painful, bitter, unglamorous step at a time. And here's the funny part. When you embrace the pain, you start to see it differently. It's not just suffering, it's progress in disguise. So, what do you do with today? You lean into it. You learn like a fool. Because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. Read books. Watch people smarter than you, even if they're as boring as a history teacher with no eyebrows. Study failure like you study your crush's Instagram. Laugh at the pain, because if you can laugh, you can survive. And most importantly, fail forward. Don't just fall flat. Use every stumble as fertilizer for your dreams. They need the mess to grow. This is the first part of the journey. Understanding that today's pain is your foundation. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's necessary. The bitter melon doesn't taste good, but it's medicine. Chew it. Keep going, because tomorrow is coming, and it's got its own set of challenges. If you survive today's grind, the bitter melon of rejection, doubt, and Wi-Fi bills you can't pay, congratulations. You're still in the fight. But don't get too comfortable, because tomorrow is coming, and let me warn you, tomorrow is worse. Today you tried. Tomorrow you start seeing the results of that trying, and they're not what you hoped for. Tomorrow is where the universe tests how badly you want it, and it doesn't play nice. Picture this: you wake up tomorrow, full of hope, thinking, maybe today's the day things turn around. Nope. Tomorrow is when your big idea gets 2 customers, your mom and your cat. You hired a friend to help with your startup, and they blew your entire marketing budget on bubble tea. You launched your app, and the only download is from Nigeria, probably a bot. Tomorrow is life saying, oh, you thought today was hard. Let me ruin your confidence, your health, your relationships, and, why not, your favorite pair of shoes. Tomorrow is the filter. It separates the quitters from the crazy ones who keep going. Let me tell you a Jack story. When I was trying to start Alibaba, I pitched to 30 investors. 30. Every single one said no. One guy even laughed and said, Jack, this internet thing, it's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. I smiled and said, thank you, sir, for your honest stupidity. Banks didn't believe in us either. I got rejected from jobs left and right. KFC, of all places, turned me down. Out of 24 applicants, I was the only one who didn't make the cut. My university entrance exam, failed it twice. My math teacher told me my numbers were as lost as my haircut. Tomorrow was not kind to me. It was a gym where the weights kept getting heavier, and the trainer, silent. No encouragement, no high fives, just more chaos. Tomorrow is when life turns up the heat. Your supplier cancels at the last minute. Your laptop dies in the middle of a pitch. You post your big idea online, and the only comment is from your ex, tearing you down. Tomorrow is when you realize that success isn't just hard, it's unfair. It's not a straight line, it's a maze full of dead ends, traps, and people telling you to give up. But here's the thing, tomorrow is not the end. It's the test. It's life asking, did you learn anything from today's pain, or are you going to crumble? So, how do you survive tomorrow? You double down on what got you through today: resilience, humor, and a stubborn refusal to quit. Let's break it down the Jack way. First, you keep learning. Tomorrow's chaos is a masterclass in disguise. Every rejection teaches you something. Maybe it's how to pitch better, how to spot a bad partner, or how to manage your expectations. When I was getting those 30 no's from investors, I wasn't just failing. I was learning what they cared about, what made them tick. I studied their doubts like a scientist studies a lab rat. Knowledge is your secret weapon, and tomorrow is full of lessons if you're willing to pay attention. Second, keep laughing. Tomorrow will punch you in the face, but don't let it take your smile. I used to crack jokes in meetings when I had no idea what was going on. One time, I said, let's circle back on that synergy. And everyone nodded. I didn't even know what synergy meant, but I faked it until I figured it out. Laughter keeps you sane. It's your shield against the chaos. When your app crashes or your investor ghosts you, find the humor in it. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about refusing to let it define you. Third, fail forward. Tomorrow's failures aren't just setbacks. They're stepping stones. Every no is a chance to refine your approach. Every mistake is fertilizer for your dreams. When Alibaba was struggling, I didn't see those rejections as the end. I saw them as feedback. Harsh, brutal feedback, but feedback nonetheless. Use it. Let it make you better. Your dreams are like plants. They need the mess to grow. Finally, choose your people wisely. Tomorrow is lonely if you're surrounded by doubters. Find friends who believe in the next day, who say, "It's hard, but let's keep going." When I started Alibaba, my co-founders weren't tech geniuses. They didn't have fancy degrees or deep pockets. But they believed. That's worth more than talent. Belief is contagious, so is doubt. Choose your infection carefully. Tomorrow is brutal, but it's not the end of the story. It's the part where most people quit, where the dreamers who can't handle the heat throw in the towel. But if you can crawl through tomorrow's chaos, you're one step closer to something amazing. The day after tomorrow is where the magic starts to happen, but you have to earn it. You've made it through today's grind and tomorrow's chaos. Congratulations, you're tougher than most. But don't start celebrating yet, because the day after tomorrow isn't a fairy tale. It's not unicorns singing your praises or investors throwing money at you while your ex begs for a second chance. No, the day after tomorrow is when things start to get better. Not perfect, but better. It's the moment when the seeds you've been planting through all the pain and rejection begin to sprout. But here's the catch: most people don't make it this far. They die emotionally on today or tomorrow, giving up just before the miracle starts loading. The day after tomorrow is like planting bamboo. For the first 3 years, you water it, you tend to it, and nothing happens. People laugh and say your bamboo is just a stick in the ground. But in year 4, it shoots up 90 feet in 60 days. That's what success looks like. It's not a straight line. It's spaghetti, and the sauce is your tears. But when you hit the day after tomorrow, you start to see results. A small win here, a believer there, a sale that's not from your uncle. It's progress, and it feels like a miracle after all you've been through. Let me tell you about my day after tomorrow with Alibaba. After the rejections, the sleepless nights, and the endless noodles, things started to shift. Someone called and said, "Jack, I saw your work. It's impressive. We made our first real sale, not to my mom or my cat, but to a stranger who believed in us. It wasn't millions, but it was proof that we were onto something." People started saying, "Wow, Jack, you're lucky." I laughed like a crazy billionaire, because luck is just patience that didn't give up. The day after tomorrow is when the world starts to notice, but only because you kept going when everyone else quit. So, what does the day after tomorrow look like? It's subtle at first. Maybe a customer emails you with praise. Maybe an investor gives you a second look. Maybe your app gets a handful of downloads that aren't bots. These are the bamboo shoots breaking through the soil. Not towering yet, but growing. The key is to recognize these moments for what they are: proof that your hard work wasn't wasted. Most people miss this because they're too busy looking for the big win, the viral moment, the overnight success. But the day after tomorrow isn't about overnight anything. It's about the slow, steady grind paying off. How do you get to the day after tomorrow? You keep doing what got you through today, and tomorrow learning, laughing, failing forward, and surrounding yourself with believers. But there's something else you have to believe in the process. When I was building Alibaba, I didn't know if we'd make it. I had no tech skills, no money, and a face that wasn't winning any beauty contests. But I believed in the idea that the internet could connect people, that it could change lives. That belief kept me going when the modem screamed and the investors laughed. You need that kind of stubborn faith in your vision, even when it feels like the world is against you. Another key is persistence. The day after tomorrow doesn't come if you stop watering the bamboo. Every small action, every email you send, every pitch you refine, every failure you learn from is a drop of water. It doesn't feel like much in the moment, but over time, it adds up. When I was rejected by those 30 investors, I didn't stop. I went back, tweaked the pitch, and tried again. When KFC said no, I didn't cry, okay, maybe a little. I kept applying, kept learning, kept moving forward. Persistence turns today's pain and tomorrow's chaos into the day after tomorrow's progress. And don't forget gratitude. The day after tomorrow feels sweeter when you're grateful for the journey. When that first sale came through for Alibaba, I wasn't just happy. I was thankful. Thankful for the rejections that taught me, the failures that shaped me, the co-founders who believed when no one else did. Gratitude turns small wins into big moments. It reminds you that every step, even the painful ones, was worth it. The day after tomorrow is your reward for not quitting. It's not the end of the journey. There's still work to do. But it's the moment when you realize you're stronger than you thought. You're not just surviving, you're growing. And that growth, it's the foundation for everything that comes next. Here we are, future billionaires, at the end of this wild, messy, beautiful journey. You've survived today's grind, tomorrow's chaos, and the slow bloom of the day after tomorrow. You've got your lessons. Learn like a fool, laugh at the pain, fail forward, choose believers, stay grateful. Now, let's wrap it up with some simple truths from a guy who was rejected by Harvard 10 times, turned down by KFC, and laughed at for dreaming too big. These truths aren't fancy, but they're real, and they'll carry you further than any motivational quote ever will. First, your past doesn't define you. Your next action does. Not your exam scores, not your family background, not that embarrassing thing you did in 2003. Your next move is your most powerful weapon. Every step you take is a reset button. Press it. When I failed my university exams, when KFC said no, when 30 investors laughed at Alibaba, I didn't let those moments define me. I defined myself by what I did next. You can too. No matter where you're starting from, your next action is your chance to rewrite the story. Second, today is just training. All the stress, confusion, rejections, and awkward moments you're facing right now, they're not punishments. They're the gym for your character. Every no is a rep. Every failure is a weight you lift. Tomorrow is the test. When life turns up the heat and asks, did you learn anything? And the day after tomorrow, that's the celebration. When you look back and laugh at the things that once made you cry, don't skip the training. It's what makes you strong enough to handle the test and worthy of the reward. Third, don't skip the pain. Everyone wants to fast forward through the struggle and jump straight to the success montage. Sorry, this isn't Netflix. The pain is the process. It's the bitter melon that makes you stronger. When I was building Alibaba, I wanted to skip the rejections, the sleepless nights, the endless noodles. But those were the moments that shaped me. They taught me resilience, patience, and how to smile when everything's falling apart. Embrace the pain. It's cheaper than regret. And regret is a debt you'll pay with your whole soul. Finally, keep going. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's not about one big win. It's about showing up day after day through the laughter, the tears, and the wee five bills. When I started Alibaba, I didn't know if we'd make it. I just knew I couldn't stop. And now, I'm the crazy guy with a bank account that smiles. You can be too. Not because you're smarter or luckier, but because you're stubborn enough to keep going. So, here's my challenge to you, dreamers and hustlers. Take the next step. Learn something new. Laugh at something hard. Fail forward. Surround yourself with people who believe. And never, ever stop watering your bamboo. The day after tomorrow is waiting, and it's going to be worth it.